Hola, my lovelies. It's me, author Alexandrian Fonte, and it is chat time. So now, Jen said that once she uploaded the video from yesterday, I guess there was some glitches in it again, and so the mouth, I mean, like my mouth and stuff and all that was in sync, but some of the photos like overlapped on some of the other photos. And unfortunately, once that video's finished and it's actually processed, you can't do anything else about it. And she said that she didn't realize that until after she had already uploaded the video. And so there was really, nothing that she could do about it because it already went into production. And so, um, sorry guys, gotta watch it that way. Because I guess it takes forever to do those videos like that, because she said that video it took her literally all day to do it, because I don't have like the Suave or whatever to do them. So she's doing it. So she said it literally took her all day to freaking do that, and she was completely frustrated. And so then, like, I guess some of the squares kept popping out, and then she had to pop them back in. And I guess during the time of popping them back in, that's where I guess, it messed up and it became, kind of crappy. So anyway, but today is Friday and it is our chat day. So we're chatting. Um, Basically, I just wanted to, well, first off, it's like, how are you guys doing out there? I hope that you're doing well. California is not, because these little, are not getting it and are not paying, they just really don't care. So they don't care that they basically have, to wear a mask. They don't want to. And so basically, California has spiked once again, and we are on lockdown again. So, and I'm very upset because now I have to do the 14-day quarantine when I get back to New York. And then basically Cuomo is trying to say that if you don't, or if you're caught outside before that 14 days is up, then he's going to give $2,000 fines. I don't know exactly what he was saying because I was doing something else, and so I wasn't really paying attention. And I was mad too, and so I just felt like smacking him because he lives in Albany. He doesn't even live down in New York City. But anyway, so basically, the coronavirus is here to stay. I literally feel like it is here to stay until they develop a vaccine, because we are a country of democracy. And so democracy tells Bubba Jack and Johnny May, sorry if that's anybody's name out there, I just made that up off the top of my head. It tells them that they have the right to say, no, I don't want to wear a mask. And so in order for us to finally get over this, someone is literally going to have to come up with a vaccine, because it's not going to work any other way. There's too many people doing what they want to do. All these little Zers, they were out partying, and then they actually were going to coronavirus parties. What does that even mean? I don't even get that. And so basically, it's never going to stop until we get a cure. And so, and in all of that, not to depress you, but so how is the coronavirus affecting your reading? I mean, like, are you reading more, because you're so depressed with what's going on? So you're trying to find some happiness in the actual books that you're reading? Or, are you trying to basically lose yourself in books so you don't have to think about the coronavirus? How is that affecting you? What are you actually doing, during this pandemic? Leave your comments in the comment section down there. I'd really like to know what you guys all are doing. Like, how are you spending your days? New York has opened back because their cases are so low that they're down to zero. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed, because that means by the time I get home, or everything should be, still open. Like they're not going to be doing from what I hear, they're not going to be opening restaurants as far as like insides. Like you cannot seat in the restaurant and inside, but you'll be able to order food and sit outside. And it's like, I mean, I don't care the way that I am in my life now. I mean, I've had my accolades. I've been a teacher. I've been a chef. I'm an author. I've been all of these things. I wouldn't care if I took a job at the dollar store. If pays me enough money and I'm comfortable to where, because I already got my things that I've earned in my life, household goods, all that kind of stuff. So I typically don't really need more. I splurge every now and then to buy something that I so should not. But I do. And so, if I took a job at like the dollar store or something, I don't care because it's paying my rent. So basically, you know, how is the coronavirus affecting you? Leave your comments down there in the chat. And now, secondly, I saw this in an author site the other day. Someone was asking how many chapters should a book be, or how many chapters should a good book be. It's like I feel like it fluctuates, or it's more to what you feel like writing. Me personally, I feel like, if a book says it's only 90 pages, then it's only 90 pages. I'm one of those writers that I get a feeling like when that book needs to end. And yeah, it might not be to the reader's benefit all the time, but also a lot of times what will happen is if an author, I feel like, this is just my own opinions, I feel like if the author doesn't end that book when it's supposed to be ended, or when it's telling you that that book is over, then the rest of that is filler. And you might get 100 pages of filler, that does not move the plot further, does not enhance the story, and it's just filler that's just there because the author is trying to make a higher word count. And so what usually happens with that is those kind of books suck. Or what happens is the reader is just flipping through pages, flipping, because they're like, oh my God, there's 400 pages to this book, and a good 250 of them are filler, and it has nothing to do with the plot. It does not forward the story. It is just there. And so I'm assuming that's why this guy asked the question, how many chapters should a book be? And I don't think there is really an answer to that. What do you guys think? Who are the writers out there? The writers out there, do you think that there is, do you fill your stories with filler? How often do you find that you're filling your stories with filler to make the word count bigger? And then to the readers out there, it's like, when do you think a book should end? How many chapters do you think a book should end on? And then also the duality of that question is, how many books do you think readers should be in a series? Because I write for a paranormal series. Well, actually, 6. And now the first paranormal series, it has 15 books. And I just dropped 15 this year. And now I'm not writing on that series for the rest of the year because I'm going to try to concentrate on just regular standalone books, because like I said, in my entire paranormal career, I've been an author for 9 years, published for, what was it? Sorry. I was a terrible math student. But anyway, I've been an author for 9 years, and I was published for 5. I was published for 5 years in the traditional sense of publishing. And in all of that time, I have never written a standalone paranormal book. That is just insane. My daughter was talking about that the other day. She was like, Mom, have you ever thought about writing a freaking standalone? You write all these series, but what if she was like, you got to think about the readers as well. Because what if the reader doesn't know you and doesn't have the time to commit to a full-on series, but they really want to read something by you to see if you're their niche. And I was like, I never freaking thought about that in 9 years. So I started writing I started writing the standalones. And so I'm going to focus on that for the rest of the year. So now my whole point to you, the readers, is how many books do you think is too much? Because I'm on book 15 for for Teaching Between Midnight and Dawn. And then I'm on book 8 with A Light Fairy Tale. Now, these two series here, they barely have books. Like, Bayou Blues has 3, or I would be working on book 3. It has 3 books. I would be working on book 4. And then, The Silly Little Witches has 4 books, and I'll be working on book 5. And then, Married to a Vampire has 2 books, and I'd be working on book 3. And then, Married to a Werewolf has 2 books as well, and then I would be working on book 3. Okay, so now what I'm saying is, because of the fact that Teaching Between Midnight and Dawn and A Light Fairy Tale are so long, or like have the most books, do you think as the reader that I should continue? Because I freaking love those 2 series. They're like my babies. And so maybe as the author, I'm not getting it, that maybe there doesn't need to be any more books. But then Laurel K, she has like 12, I think the Nita Blake series has 24 books to it. Someone correct me down there in the comment section if I'm wrong. And then the Mary Gentry series, I believe it has at least 14. So should there be a time when an author stops writing on a series if they can continue on with it? Because I just feel like, personally, if you can continue to regenerate and regenerate the series and then come out with fresh ideas every time, I kind of feel like you're okay by continuing on with it. So you as the reader, let me know in the comments down there. So, I'm not saying that I'm going to stop, but at least I would get your opinion. And then now, number 3. Another question. Like, I saw I get a lot of these questions. Whoops, sorry. I get a lot of these questions from the author groups and the book groups on YouTube, because some of them are like really, they get you thinking a lot. And then a lot of times I will get a reader that will specifically ask me this. And so, so the next question is, what do you think about books that have no chapters? So like, cause Arlie Parker's books, and then, I don't think I know any other author who writes like that. I'm trying to think. I'll have to look that up and see. But Arlie, I know specifically, for a fact, does not use chapter headings. I mean, she uses chapter headings, but it won't be chapter 1, right? It might be, oh my God, this mofo. And that's the chapter heading. And so she doesn't actually have, like, it won't say chapter 1 or chapter 2. Or she might start the book out with chapter 1, and then you don't get another chapter like that until you get to chapter 5. And then you don't get another one until you might get to chapter 10. And so what do you, as the reader, what do you think about that? Do you think that's just dumb, and that authors need to write chapter headings? Or is it okay when an author says, you know what, I like how this is, I don't need a freaking chapter heading, so I'm just going to do it this way? What is your opinion of that? Yeah. I mean, it doesn't bother me personally. I don't really care, because I think when I'm reading a book, I'm not really looking at the chapter anyway. And then I don't do the sacrilege of dog-earing my pages in my books anyway. So I use a freaking book poster or a book placeholder. Like this. See this? This is what you put inside a book. You do not dog ear pages because then you ruin the book. So, now, so it doesn't matter to me. So I wouldn't need to know what chapter I was on anyway, because basically I'm just going to put one of these in there and then go on about my business. Now, if I don't have one of those with me, which is very, very weird, it's not like me. If I don't get the free ones from the Strand, because the Strand will give you book for all of my New Yorkers, the Strand will give you these every time you buy a book. And if they don't, all you have to do is say, hey, can I get a placeholder? And they'll be like, yeah, sure. And they'll give you the free ones. But then they also have, like a whole freaking section of these in the one on 14th Street. I think that's the only one, isn't it? Oh, no, that's right. There's one on 43rd, and then there's one near Central Park. But yeah, the one on 14th Street, they have like a whole section of these, and some of them are so cute. I already packed mine, so I can't show you. These just happen to be on the table, so I was able to pick it up and show you right quick. But so I don't really necessarily need to remember what chapter I'm on. So what do you guys think about that, though? Do you think authors always need to use freaking chapter headings so you know where you are if you're not a placeholder type person? And then let's see, and number 4 is who do you think is trending right now? If you had to say who was the number one trending author out there right now, not number 1 selling, but number 1 trending, because trending and selling can sometimes be 2 different things. And then who is the number 1 seller? Do you think it's her? It's him? I have no clue. I don't really pay attention to that. Do you pay attention to that yourselves? Leave me comments in the comment section down there. I don't really pay attention to Times best-selling lists normally. The only time that I really pay attention to it is if someone has sent me something, like maybe one of my kids, because how I found out about The Hate U Give, my 28-year-old, my daughter, she sent me that and was like, Mom, have you read this book? This book is amazing. You really need to read it. And so, and then what was it? I can't remember another book. What was the next book? It was another really hugely popular. J.K. Rowling's book. I forget the name of it. The one with the red cover. I didn't know about that one either until my oldest son sent it to me. Was like, Mom, he sent me a link for it. He's like, Mom, you really need to check out this book. It's continuing on from Harry Potter. And I was like, oh, okay. And so basically, I don't pay attention to the Times best-selling list on the normal, unless it's something, unless it's something big, really big to where you can't ignore it, or one of my kids say, oh, hey, look at this, look at that, And so, because my kids are very, very intellectual. My oldest is a forensic anthropologist. My second one, my oldest son, and then my oldest daughter is a professor. And then my next daughter, because my husband and I have 5, and then my next daughter is she works for Cal Poly. She is a educational specialist. And then my son is, he is an anime drawer. And then the last one that's about to go off to college now, she's going for zoology. So they're very, very book oriented. And I mean, I made it up. I was a teacher, so you're going to read up in this house, even if I have to force you. No. But it's like, because my oldest daughter, she would not read to save her life. And so I figured one day, okay, I'm going to take her to the bookstore and I'm going to put her in front of the bookshelf and then just tell her, pick a book. And whatever she picks, I don't care what it is, even if it's to my disdain, whatever she picks, I will be okay with that, because regardless of what it is, she is reading. And so we did that. We went to Barnes and Nobles, And then she got in there and we roamed some of the aisles. And then I was like, do you see anything you like? And then she picked up this one book and she pulled it down. And I just started laughing hysterically because she picked Betty Friedan's The Feminine Mystique. And I was just like, oh my God. And she's been a feminist ever since. So, who says that books can't change you and think you and shape you as a person? And so she's been a reader ever since, you know. And so basically, you know, who do you think is the number one, who is the number one trending? And then as the number one spot, do you think this is legitimate? And also coming for the indie spot, the indie number one seller, right? We are going to do number one seller in contemporary, in horror, and paranormal. And do you think that those are who it should be? So look it up. Tell me what you think about. If you've read any of those books, tell me what you think about them and were they really good? And let me know, because if they are, like, I know that they are only because I looked it up. But if they are, let me know, because I would love to read them too. I have no problems reading an author that is amazing. I have no problems supporting other authors. I have I've done it for my entire career. I have no problem supporting authors who may not even write my genre or who may do. There is enough readers out there for everyone. So I don't understand authors who are stingy, who don't want to help someone else, especially newbies. It's like, you've been doing this for 10, 15 years. You know, I wish that I could send off JK a telegraph, because I follow her on Twitter. And I'd be like, girl, you need to hook me up. Or Stephanie Myers, you know, they're like, yeah, your vampire sparkle, but, you know, we can work with that. You know, hook me up. But no, they don't do that, because America is nothing but capitalists. And so basically they figure that's some money you're going to be taking out of their hand. So no, they're not going to help you. And I just find that very, very sad. Okay, and now on to number 6. RH. RH. Okay, so now I write RH. These two series are RH. What do you think about RH? Now, me personally, I love RH. I love it. I mean, or should I say, I maybe should say I love my own. Because I've read a few, but that's another genre that I try not to read or try not to get into, because of the fact that I write it. So I don't want to be biting somebody's, you know, somebody's idea. So I don't, I mean, because my A Light Fairy Tale series is about Fae, which is why it's called Light Fairy Tale. It's about Fae and what happens in this Fae, you know, realm with, you know, a human. She basically got hooked up in that world. And then the Teacher Between Midnight and Dawn, well, she got hooked up with a bunch of werewolves, and then she winds up being married to 5 separate men. And like, I know people are like, oh my God, that's like insane. And so basically RH became the big thing last year, like 2018, 2019. Women just could not get enough of RH. And it kind of pissed me off a little, though, because I've been writing RH my entire career. Like, since the second book came out. I've been writing RH. So I've been writing RH since 2011. To the end of 2011, basically almost into 2012. And then you had Charlaine Harris, who has been writing RH for God knows how long, because, you know, you had Sookie Stackhouse, you had, you know, you had all of that. And then you have Laurel K has been writing RH. All of these ladies have been writing RH for like forever. And so for them to say that RH is new and on the scene, no, it isn't. What happened is people started watching anime more, because that's That's mainly where RH comes from. It has been in anime for like freaking forever. And so basically now when you say you write RH, people are like, "Oh my god, I'm so sick of RH. Why is it?" No. It's been around always. It's been here because just think about it. Suki, True Blood came out in 2005. Right? That's when I think that's when the show premiered. Well, Charlene already had them books written because the show is based off of Charlene Harris's series Sookie Stackhouse, the Stackhouse series. So she already had those books written. A lot of those books came from the 90s before they were either before anyone got any type of idea of what RH was, because I don't even think Laurel's was that popular. Well, no, I guess she would have been because that's what gave me the idea to become a writer. Basically, I read Laurel K. Hamilton and just enveloped myself in her stuff, and I was like, and just the more on that I delved into it, I didn't see any women of color writing this. Like, you were not seeing back in 2010. 2009, 2010, you were not seeing any women of color writing paranormal like I write. So I was like, I'm gonna do this, right? So that is how I came up with my first book. I mean, that is how I decided to write my first book, I should say. I came up with my first book. I was waiting for a freaking student in the library because he needed some tutoring, and he was taking his sweet freaking time when he was supposed to be there at 5 after 3, and it was already like 3:15, and so I was about to bail on his little butt. And so I was sitting there at the table, and someone had a bunch of mythology books, and this was before I started teaching mythology. This actually gave me my oomph to teach it. But I was sitting there, and there were like a line of books on the desk that had to do with mythology. So someone had already been reading them, and then, little lazy people never put books back. They just make the librarian do it. And so they left the books, and so I just started flipping through one of the books. And as I did, I got an image of this girl. Well, not a girl. She's like 29. This girl in an underground chamber, right? And she's walking through the chamber, and once she gets to the opening, she sees scribes like bowing, and they're in prayer. And then she sees this woman like on the throne. This beautiful, dark, brown skinned woman on the throne. And then she gets up and she walks to the side. And then basically it was like, what the hell? I was like, what the hell was that? Basically, like, I fell into some vision or something. And so I just started writing that. I was like, oh my God, if I ever decided to write a book, this would be cool. And then my little janky student showed up. And so I put the paper away. And then I decided right then and there, okay, I'm going to write this book. And then basically that's this book. And so what do you think about RH? Do you think it's tired? Do you think it's dead? Do you think it's disgusting? Because I've seen that too a lot. A lot of people will say, oh my God, that's so gross. She's got like 3-4 men. It's like, okay. Suspend your little Catholic religious beliefs, because I'm Catholic too. The priest told me all the time, just looking at a man was, this was covetry. But you know what? I coveted all day. Anyway, but yeah, so I would like to know, is it because you are religious that you feel like that is wrong? Because I don't understand how you could have any sexual hang-ups. Now, sexual perversions, like looking at children, that's disgusting. And no one will ever freaking support that. No one will ever support that. But what you consent to do as a consenting adult, that's your business. And so, basically, I see the post a lot too, where, some women will be like, that's just disgusting and it is sick. It's like, no, that is not sick. That's your issue. So why should you push that onto someone else? That's your issue. You have a problem with that. So you deal with your problem, but you don't spew it out to everyone else. And so now, what do you as the reader think? Do you think that reverse harem is gross? And I'm not going to be upset if you do. I don't, usually what I do is I just say, oh, okay, well then you know what, my stuff is not your cuppa, because I write reverse harem. And so just those two series though, I write reverse harem, so you know my stuff is probably not your cuppa, and I'm not going to get upset at you, and I don't get upset at them because that's their choice. But I just would like to know, you know, what you think about it. You know, should we continue to write it, and you know, is it seen as really taboo? Okay, and now on to number 7. The shade reel. Okay, so when should you actually throw shade? Okay, so like I try not to throw shade at other authors because of the fact that, you know, I don't want it to come back on me. Like, I didn't even throw shade that time that the people crashed my website for like an entire month and a half. I didn't even throw shade. All I said was, okay, if it's not your cup, I don't read it. And I learned that was 9 years ago. And I learned to never open my mouth again. So when should you as an author say, okay, you know what? I've had enough. I've had enough. Okay. I should not have to deal with this reader. Because some readers, come on now, guys, you got to be honest. You got to, in all honesty, readers, you got to be honest, because a lot of times y'all need to check yourselves, really and truly. And so, so you as the author, are you even allowed to say enough is enough? See, I personally don't think that you are. I think personally, because of the fact that you are in the public, you know, arena, and you have people buying your books and looking at you as an author, that you don't get to. And it's sad and it hurts, especially when race and ethnicity have to do with it, or someone throws that into the mix. And it's sad and it hurts, but you still have to grin and bear it. And so for all you new authors out there who are up and coming, and you're just getting your feet wet, and you're like putting yourself out there, which is why you're sending us your reviews, you have to remember to, as Medea would say, chant the hell up. You know, you cannot respond to them like that. But it's like, okay, is there a tipping point? Is there a tipping point? Because like, oh my God, I laughed so hysterically hard. I could not stop laughing for at least a good, 40 seconds. This kid sent out a tweet on Twitter. And he said, F you, Stephen King. Just for no reason, just out of the blue, just random, just to be saying something. And Stephen King clapped back. And he said, no, F you, kid. And I mean, I could not stop laughing because I thought that was so hilarious, because Stephen King was like, I'm not here for it today. I'm not here. And so he has status, though. He has clout, and he is like freaking up there. So I don't believe the kid. The kid thought it was funny. His parents didn't. His parents was like, we're never reading, But I'm sure Stephen King don't care, because he's like, it's two of you. Big whoop. And so, and the simple fact that the kid thought it was hysterically funny, because the kid, he wasn't like a kid. He was like a teenager. He was like 15, 16 years old. So to get a clap back from Stephen King in the first place, he probably savored that and thought it was like hysterically funny. But now his parents had a problem with it, and they were just like, he shouldn't speak to a child like that. Well, then a child should not be speaking like that to other people. He should not be opening his mouth. His parents should have taught him better. But anyway, so now, what do you think? Where should the author draw the line? And then our last one. Okay. Do you think I'm trying to read my own handwriting, y'all. Okay, do you think the more attractive the influencer is, or the author, or the actor, whatever that is, do you think the more attractive they are, the more people they get to subscribe to their channels, watch their movies, or read their books? Because like half of the time, you really don't necessarily see who the author actually is. Like me, I don't care. I'm a social person, so it doesn't bother me to go online and stick my ugly face out there. I don't care. I'm not here for a beauty contest, and I'm okay with putting myself out here because I'm comfortable in my skin. I'm comfortable who I am. But now, like Arlie, Kanisha, just to use them as examples, SK, who else? Who else do I know? I know a bunch of authors who will not go to the spotlight. Okay, because Kanisha and Arlie works for a graphic, uh, or is that Kanisha? Yeah, Arlie works for a graphic tech company, like a big corporation type. They do like real ish, like on the corporate level. And then Kanisha, she works for I'm sorry, a financial planning analyst company. So now they write this really, really, really dirty romance. So they don't want that connected to them any type of way. Any type of way. And if you type in Kanisha Knowles, there are so many freaking people out there with the name Kanisha Knowles that it won't even come back to her, because I thought it was so cute. She actually got a reader who had read one of her books and sent her an email and said that she thought it was so cool because her name was Kanisha Knowles too. And just like her, all her friends called her Kenny. And so I thought that was cute. So they pretty much distanced themselves from that. So, basically, the last question on the list: do you think that the better looking the person is, the more they have an influence on you as the reader, the watcher, the whatever? Leave your comments in the box down there. And also remember that Monday and Friday is chat. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is review, and then Saturday and Sunday is manga and anime, and then Sunday is interviews. So make sure that you are on the channel, and also remember to like, share, subscribe. Thanks bunches, and we will see you tomorrow.